Are you looking for some healthy ways to discipline your child? You'll want to watch this video. By the end of this one, you'll have 5 specific ideas. The research in psychology has been very, very clear about this. In fact, it's probably the thing that is the most clear in the whole industry. Kids need 2 things to be well-adjusted and happy. And those 2 things are love and discipline. Sometimes researchers use different terms for that, like warmth and structure. Well, does that sound like love and discipline to you? So finding healthy ways to discipline our children is really essential to their development. And it helps us feel better as parents too. Because don't you get tipped over sometimes when you end up doing something that wasn't so healthy? What I've found is that most parents get frustrated or confused when they're trying to deal with a child who's on stage 1 in their moral development. If you're not familiar yet with the stages of moral development, spend some time on the Positive Parenting playlist here on our channel, or you can connect to the Parenting Power-Up. There's a link in the description where we get into detail about those stages of moral development. The confusion that we have or the frustration that we feel is usually because this child should be doing something more mature, but they're not. That means that we as parents have to step up and take a higher level of control. Here's 5 tips that will help us to have a more healthy approach to discipline. Tip number 1, separate the emotion from the discipline. You know how you get tipped over sometimes when you're disciplining your child. This is counterproductive because it gives the child a false sense of control over a big person who should be in control of their emotions. Separating the emotion from the discipline puts you in a powerful position as a parent. So it's all business. We take the emotion out of the discipline. It's all cool. It's all calm. I'm going to maintain a calm face, voice, and body as I engage in the discipline for the children. This is easier said than done because our emotions get sucked into it. Notice that your emotions become relevant when you are feeling frustrated, angry, or resentful about what your child's doing. Those 3 feelings, frustration, anger, and resentment, are really great indicators that you need to get into control. And it's distracting to feel those feelings because it seems like somebody else needs to get into control. Well, even though that might be true, your frustration and anger is because you are out of control. That's why we need to focus on what you can control instead of what you can't. And that's going to help us to remove the emotion from the discipline. Let's let that move us into tip number 2. Think versus fight. Think versus fight. What do you want your kids to do? Think or fight? You want them to think. Because when they're thinking, they make pretty good decisions. When they're fighting, not so much. This rule goes for everyone, including you as a parent. Think, not fight. If you're feeling like fighting, you're off. Get back focused on thinking so that you can come up with some great strategies for how to approach the discipline in a completely business-like way because you've already separated the emotion from the discipline. Think, not fight. I'm going to help you with that because the videos that we've put up on the Positive Parenting playlist here on the channel are full of ideas for you to help you do just that. Keep thinking. And let's encourage the kids to do the same. Here's a little insight about that. When mom's smiling, kids are thinking. When mom's smiling, kids are thinking. This goes for dad too. It freaks them out a little bit at first. Because if they're used to tipping you over and we've got the emotion all tied into the discipline still, then they've got you. They know that they're in control. When you separate the emotion from the discipline and you're smiling, they wonder what you're up to. And they start to get nervous. Think, not fight. Now, tip number 3. Let consequences and empathy do the teaching. A lot of times as parents, we get into the old 3 R's of parenting. Do you remember what those are? Rant, rave, and rescue. It's where we bawl them out and we bail them out. Instead of doing that, we're going to allow the consequences to fall. Now, a lot of times we get all emotionally tied up in our kids' choices because we really don't want them to have the consequences. Do we? No, we're trying to protect their little souls. So we instead bawl them out for whatever it is that we're trying to discipline them over, and then we bail them out and let them have the privileges that they haven't earned through their choices. Can you connect with this at some level? When we do this, we teach our kids inadvertently that the only thing that matters is that they have to put up with a little bit of noise. And for kids, bad breath is better than no breath at all. So they'll do that all day long. It also tells them that what really matters here is mom or dad's mood. If they're in a good mood, then I can get what I want. If they're in a bad mood, then I have to put up with a little bit of noise, and then I'm still going to get what I want. Really? Is that what we want to teach our kids? Let's let the consequences fall. I can guarantee you, your kids can handle whatever consequences they're developmentally bringing onto their plate. They can handle it. They might not send you the message that they can handle it. Oh, I can't. Right? That doesn't mean that they can't handle it. So let the consequences fall. And then let's add that second part. Empathy. You let empathy be the emotional response that you give your kids. Empathy has 2 important components. It means that you understand and care how someone else feels. And you do. You already do. You care how your child feels. That's why you've been bailing them out. Instead of bailing them out, join with them in that feeling. Oh, this is hard for you, buddy, isn't it? See, that's empathy. Not in a I told you so sort of a way. Connect with them. Understand and care how your kids feel. Use consequences and empathy to do the teaching. Tip number 4 goes right back to our main parenting model. You balance control with maturity. Control and maturity are inextricably tied together. You have control because of maturity. This is what we want to teach the kids. The more mature they are, the more control they get to have. And it's all business because we've separated the emotion from the discipline. Do you see how these tips are tying together? Now, if you're not sure what I mean by control and maturity, that's where I want to send you back to the Positive Parenting playlist. Teaching Kids Responsibility is one of the videos we did that outlines this particular pattern for you. And you can always connect to it also at the Parenting Power Up. Click through in the links down below and you'll see what I mean. Now, one final tip for today's video. Focus on choice and accountability. A little tip that I've shared in other videos here is to always give your kids 2 choices, both of which you are okay with, and one of which you control. Without getting into all of the details about how to do that particular skill, this is a really powerful way to have a healthy approach to discipline because you're focusing on choice. You can do this or you can do that. Either way is okay with me. make sure you're okay with both ways. Because if you give your kids a choice that you're okay with and one that you're not okay with, guess which one they're going to pick? I'm okay either way. And then you're smiling. When parents are smiling, kids are thinking. And that was one of our tips for today. Think, not fight. Think versus fight. You can do this, you can do that. Either way is okay with me. You choose. And you control one of those choices, which means you control the consequences for that choice. That one becomes default. And that's the one that we go to if they refuse to choose or if they very creatively choose door number 3. The accountability part of this particular tip is where they get to receive the consequences for their choice, whether it's positive or unpleasant. They get to own the consequences. That's the accountability part. And you don't bail them out as a parent. Hopefully those tips will help you to have a healthier approach to the discipline. I've mentioned several times in this video the Parenting Power-Up. You can connect to it in the links down below, parentingpowerup.com. The reason I created this course is so that you can feel like a positive parent, that you have all of the tools and ideas and resources you need to keep smiling and not get tipped over by all of the stuff that comes up for parents.
Down, face locked onto the phone.